I was recently watching a video by 3 of 7, a YouTuber who does truck vlogs and stuff like that, redneck looking fella, or I should say country boy. And he was telling a story about when he was a teenager, he was working with these two Hispanic guys out in the fields, removing stumps and stuff like that, and clearing out fields and getting stung by bees and, ticks and all that stuff. And he was talking about the working ethic of the two Hispanic guys, and they could work for 12 hours and not take a break, and not non-stop, and no breaks, no lunch, no nothing. And this guy telling the story too, 7 to 3, was a young man, very strong, very hardy, very capable worker, he talks about this too. He could beat up both of them. I mean, there was no doubt about it, taking both on at the same time. I don't know why he was talking about that, but I think he got into a fight, but that's nonetheless. So he continues telling the story, and he's talking about one time he was driving with the two, and he was, he had to take a poop, and, he had to go out into the backwoods, took his poop, came back early, and the guy was stumbling with something, and he, thought that was kind of weird, and it was kind of suspicious. And so towards the end of the day, he found a crack pipe that two of the Mexicans were smoking. Apparently the Mexicans were smoking methamphetamines, the workman's drug, and it kind of changed my perspective on that. Not to say that all Mexicans or all Hispanic people or anybody of that nature were doing drugs and stuff like that, but the whole message of the story was everything is not as what they seem, and sometimes people are getting help from outside sources to make them seem much better than they are. And that kind of made me question a few things too about work ethic, and about maybe we shouldn't. I'm not saying we shouldn't praise the worker, but there's another story that I was watching, Count Dankula. He was talking about the Yakuza, and one of the things that the Yakuza did, I don't know how it got into this, but apparently in Japan, methamphetamines, or they have a drug, they have methamphetamines or some kind of drug over there, some Adderall, some stimulant to help workers work a little faster and be more productive. And I was thinking about this, and when we see people like that, we never assume that anybody who's working is on drugs, but the harsh reality is that a lot of people who work in manual labor are on drugs. And you can say, oh, this is a new thing. No, this has been going on for a while. I mean, before the invention of coffee, before the discovery of coffee, there was people who worked out in the fields, and they used to get liquored up so they can tolerate the work and, not worry about the muscle strain. And you think about that, and now you think about nowadays, it's like nothing has really changed. And, I've been trying to make a video about this and say what I want to say, but I think, we live in a day and age where we mock people for one type of work but praise another for another. And another for another, excuse me. We praise one group of people for, their job, and then we shit on other people for having this kind of job because they complain or they speak out. And it's, the great example is the art student who goes to school and then she ends up working at Starbucks, or he ends up working at Starbucks, and it's like, or the female, any of that bullshit. And I'm just like, anybody can change their course. It's like, if they can realize maybe this, feminist bullshit is not working out, then fine. The same thing happened to me when working in, I was going to school for film, which, by the way, Temple sucks. I'm not going to lie about it. Temple's not a good school anymore. If you really want to study film, don't go to school for film. Go to the internet. Look up film schools online. Study that shit. And you can say, well, they have the equipment. You can buy equipment. And you know what? And the thing that kind of bugs the crap out of me about this, too, thinking about it, I'm kind of over the whole, inadequacy and this and that, and we should praise the people who are, got degrees, or we should praise people who can work with their hands. And it's like, stop praising people. Everybody doesn't need to be overly praised for doing some kind of bullshit job. It's like, just because that garbage man is working, you know, that job and he's getting paid, he doesn't like his job, even with the pension he's getting, even with some of the, you know, special little treats he's getting, the little things he's getting. It's bullshit. To me, I think it's absolutely dog shit bullshit. It's like the same thing with Social Security. It's this, oh, I'm going to get my gold in a rainbow at the end of the, you know, day, or I'm going to get my thing at the end if I work really, really hard for 10 fucking years, but yet nothing happens. You know, we don't reward good, hard work in this world. We reward... I don't know what we reward anymore. I think we just reward bullshit nowadays. And thinking about it, I was thinking about this too, and especially like how we treat each other when it comes to working too. I know I'm going off topic here, and I made another video like this, and I didn't like it. So this video, and again, it's how we perceive everything about working too, as well. Let me say that. You know, when you look at that woman who works at Starbucks, you know, making the milk, and I was watching a video like this. A woman's making a milkshake for a guy at 6 a.m. in the morning. And I'm thinking to myself, everybody, and I looked at the comments, and the video ends with, you know, the lady being mocked for, oh, she's, you know, she's crying because she has to do her job. How many of us really want to do their job, go to work and just not do their job, but get paid for doing it? Just show up? Like, how many of us just really want to just do a good day's work without really doing anything? Like, we've had those days. I mean, think about this for a second. Again, I'm not discrediting work or jobs or people's livelihoods and stuff like that. I'm just tired of the appraisal bullshit and just the lack of respect we have for one another when it comes to our jobs. When it's like, or anybody who dreams to trying big or seeking something. You know what I mean? And the truth is, it's that we've lost that respect for one another when it comes to our jobs. It's like, oh, you work at Starbucks. That's not a real... When we say the words, that's not a real job. If it's paying, it's a job. You mean a job that you get a pension, you get this, you get... Oh, I get benefits. I hate the word benefit. I get my benefits. You mean you get a little token and shit? Fuck that shit. Benefits don't exist. Oh, you only get benefits after you work 5 years. That's how they get you. That's always how they get you. And I always laugh about this, too, and it's like... I do, because it's like... You know, we mock that lady for making the milk. And I read those comments, too, that she was like, oh, well, you know, that guy was probably, you know, done working a warehouse shift, that, you know, and he's just treating himself at, you know, doing the night shift and blah, blah, blah. But what if, I'm just saying, what if on the opposite end, he's not really doing, he's just a fat slob getting a milkshake at 6 a.m. in the morning like a fucking psychopath? Because we do have an obesity problem in this country, but yet nobody wants to talk about that shit. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that we have a fucking health issue in this country, and it revolves around our fucking diet. Excuse my language, I'm 8 minutes into this thing. Excuse me, 9 minutes in, and I'm already swearing. Screw Susan Wojcicki. I don't care. You make up stupid fucking rules, and I'm not gonna follow them. Nobody is following them. I'll go to Rumble if I have to, but honestly, I'm not a big YouTuber, so that's not really the grandest thing ever. So I might as well start the fires here and go to my other channels as well. But it sucks though, because I'm just so tired of hearing about, you know, jobs this and jobs that and bums needing to work, and oh, you don't want to work, nobody wants to work, nobody wants to work, nobody wants to work. You made it impossible for anybody to work. You know, you instead of just training on the job or just having that person being trained and just figuring out how it works, you make them go to school. You make them go to a trade school. You make them go to a school for 10 years. You know, you make them go to a school for more money. You know, you make them go to college. You know, why do you think kids are going to college? Because to get a job. You know, oh, well, we can't do training on the job, but we got to go to these schools, we got to go to seminars, we got to go waste people's fucking time. And then you dictate these people's fucking lives, too, and it's like, you know, we don't have dreamers anymore. We don't have people who are innovators. We just, you know, We have people who are miserable at their jobs, living by wage salary from 9 to 5. And you know what? I've done that game. And I'll tell you what, it sucks. It absolutely fucking sucks. And I'll tell you this too, owning your business, like, I could talk about owning a business and stuff like that, and I'll tell you this much. Having a family business, and I'll use the quotations of family, having a family business kind of sucks because you have people you don't really want to trust and really work with. Think about this. Do you really want to work with your parents or your brother or your sibling? I mean, like, really think about that for a second. Think about, like, and those are the people who fucking backstab you the hardest. You know, The Godfather warned people about this, but we all took it as it's a movie about family. No, it's a movie about the dangers of fucking family. You know? You get tired of just trying your damnedest to do this shit, and you just... You know... You work too damn hard, and it's just like, you know, and then you just shit on you, you know. It's like, well, you know, you got something to rely on. It's like, if you don't believe in me, just fucking say it. Just fucking say it. It's like, and nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to say that at all. Alright, I'm getting too personal with this. But my biggest thing, though, is that we don't have that common core respect for one another. And yet, we praise one group of people, yet we don't know, like, again, like I said before with, like, the beginning of this, with the story with the Mexicans, and that dude and the Mexicans, some people may be just on drugs or alcohol. Hell, most of the construction workers you see, and I know many of them are going to listen to this and be like, well, you don't know, and how dare you, and it's like, no. Because they're either smoking, they're either drinking, not on the job, though, but they do have some substance that they're taking that probably helps them work through the day. Caffeine being the biggest one of them. And before you say anything, caffeine's not a drug, fuck you. How many cups of coffee do you have every fucking morning? How many cups of coffee do you have every morning? You know? People want to work as hard as they can just to get through the day so they don't get burned out. And I'll tell you what, being sober and doing this shit sucks. It does. I like creating things, and it's like, why don't you like doing this? Because it's not creative. And I know people out there, you gotta be realistic. I am realistic. I don't believe in healthcare anymore. I don't believe in the institutions that we have in this country, insurance being one of them. The fucking government is one of them. Any of the bullshit that we have nowadays is bullshit. The authorities that we have, doctors being an example of that. I looked at most doctors and health professions, they don't look healthy. They don't look like healthy fucking people to begin with. And I know they're working shifts and stuff like that, and they work hard jobs. Understandable. And you know what? It's funny, though, because I was thinking about jobs and stuff like that, and, you know, the experts and stuff like that. We don't really consider people being bought out or sold or just full of shit. You know, when we look at doctors, we're like, oh, well, you know, he's a doctor, he got his degree and stuff like that, and half the time, you know, there's people out there saying different things, like I do, and the institutions we trust. And I say this before, and I say this to my mom one time when we got into an argument, a tree that's been here for 1,000 years, for 100 years, you don't think it was going to get rotten from the inside out eventually? You don't think that tree's going to get rotten out from the inside out eventually? Oh, that tree's been the strongest tree ever, and it's never going to break, and it could get rotten from the inside out and get destroyed. You know, sometimes our strongest institutions, the solid as a rock thing, can be something awful. But, I don't know. I think people just need to stop, you know, they need to stop praising people and just accept people for who they are. Or fine, somebody's an artist, they make something cool. You know, make somebody smile when you go into a convenience store. Make somebody smile when you go and get a coffee at 7-Eleven or better yet Starbucks. Make that person smile and be like, yo, thank you very much. You know, if you really want to make them smile, give them a name that they can scream loudly, like, yes, What's the name on this? Yes, it's Hey Asshole. Just say Hey Asshole. Hey Axel. Or Hey Axel, something of that nature. I want to do that. I know I'm not the biggest Starbucks fan, but I really want to do that as a gag. But I don't know. All I'm asking is just a little respect that everybody should just give out for people. You know what I mean? Just a little. Not total enough, but just a good amount of respect that people should have for, you know, anything. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this person works at Starbucks, fine, let's respect them. Oh, this person works in construction, fine, let's respect them a little bit. You know, but just a little bit. You know, this person's a doctor, let's give them some respect. But we gotta admit that people can be wrong too. That some people are just not perfect as well. So that's all I gotta say about that. You know, don't make people into something, you know, grander than they already were. I mean, we already did it after 9/11. Think about who I'm talking about, and, you know, let's just say support them. I mean, you can respect them, but you can tell them, but you can also tell them to go fuck themselves too. Now, I'm not saying you should, but respecting people is one thing, but when they act out of line, you gotta, you know, step in and just gotta say, no, you're out of line. I don't care if you did, but I do. But right at this moment, you stepped the line. So, I don't know. I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things. I think I might do a let's play of a video game. I know those are an outdated format, but then again, it would be more interesting to listen to my ass with gameplay footage being played over this, so who knows. Okay, take care, love it, bye-bye, and remember to stay beautiful, you beautiful bastards out there. Love you all. Peace in a bucket of grease.